Okay, guys. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you guys about macros and what the heck are they. So, for a lot of you, you've probably heard about macros before, but you may not be sure even what the heck they are. And I'm here to clear this for you and dive a little bit deeper so you have a better understanding of what an actual macronutrient is and why they are important. So, let's dive right into it. So, nutrition, the best fuel for your body. Your body is a tri-fuel vehicle. Proteins made up of proteins, fats, and carbs that can all be transformed into energy that you need to stay alive. So, not all food is nutritious. And one thing to keep in mind is what we are eating does matter. And it always lands in one, two, and sometimes three of these categories. So your macronutrients are your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. Just remember those three things. And it's important to understand what foods land in each category so that you can manage your day better and make sure you have a good balanced diet with these. So for example, oatmeal is categorized as a carbohydrate, but it may have some protein in as well, but you would log it as carbohydrates, and it might have like 2 grams of protein or something like that, and maybe a little bit of fat. It depends. So you do need to keep that in mind, and just make sure that things are logged in the right category. And if you are tracking in MyFitnessPal, it'll do it for you. But this is more like also if you are not tracking in MyFitnessPal, and you're just being conscious about what you are eating and making sure that you have a nice balanced plate, you want to understand what foods land in each category. So let's talk about carbs. Carbs have gotten a bad rep for a long time, and for a good reason, because there's simple carbs and then there's complex carbs. And simple carbs are, these things on the left here, where it's soda, chips, candy, bread, cookies, pasta. These are the ones that aren't really going to give you a lot of nutrition value. They're going to give you, maybe a quick burst of energy, but then they're going to cause a lot of other things too. Weight gain, inflammation in the body, digestive issues, insulin crashes, that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about complex carbs, we do not have to be afraid of complex carbs. And this is where a lot of people, it really can mess with your mindset about carbs, because we're not taught about simple carbs versus complex carbs. And because carbs have gotten such a bad rep, we're even skewed with our idea of complex carbs. So if you're afraid of eating fruit, we need to address that, because fruit is good for you. So when we're talking about complex carbs, we're talking about fresh fruits and vegetables, sweet potato, whole grains, white potatoes, and bananas and apples and stuff like that. Like, those are good complex carbs. So carbs, which your body transforms into sugars, are like that kindling that you use to get your fire started. It quickly ignites, burns hot and fast, and then flames out. What we're talking about here is they give you that initial energy, and your body's going to utilize carbs first for energy because it quickly ignites. And that's why when let's say for example, you wait too long to eat, and all of a sudden you are starving and ravenous and you need something, and you're like, I want that donut. That's actually your brain telling you, like, I need something quick. That doesn't mean that you need to be eating the cookie or the donut, but it is your brain telling you that it wants something that it can burn quickly because you are empty. You're running on empty. So you just have to recognize those patterns and those things, and then give it the right types of carbohydrates. Doesn't mean you can't ever have a cookie or a donut, but treat it like a delicacy, and don't do it every single day, and you'll start learning that carbs are not that bad for you. Protein. Protein is one of the most underrated sources that people talk about when it comes to macros, and it is so important. Most of the time, once you get your protein where it needs to be on a daily basis, you actually start to get rid of those carb cravings that a lot of people experience. Is they say they crave carbs all the time, and that's actually not the problem. The problem is you don't have enough protein. So protein is like a damp log that is hard to ignite, but if you persevere, you can finally get it going. Your body can use protein for fuel, but only as a last resort because getting energy out of it is difficult. So just remember that you're not eating protein necessarily for that energy. It can use it, but your body's going to wait to use protein as energy until your carbohydrates and your fats are burned out and it has used all of that, and then it's going to use protein. And also, this is where when you don't eat enough and your body needs something, it's going to start, using your muscles as fuel because that's protein in your muscles. And so it's going to start going in there and eating away at your muscles because it needs something. So it's going to go somewhere. So you got to make sure that you have the right amount of protein, get it to where you need it on a consistent daily basis, and you're going to start seeing those results of less carb cravings. You're going to stay fuller longer. You're going to stay satisfied. And that's why, if you eat a bowl of pasta and there's not protein in there, you're going to be hungry probably an hour or two later. Whereas if you have a balanced plate of some sweet potato, some chicken, and vegetables, you're actually going to be full for hours because you satisfy your body with the protein. And then we're going to go talk about fats. Fats is one of my favorite things to talk about. And for most people, the body's preferred fuel is fat. And fat is like a nice thick log that you put into the fireplace, the one that gives you steady and controlled warmth over a long period of time. So fat has a lot of benefits. But I like to talk about the brain here. So our brain is actually made up of 60% fat tissue. So why wouldn't we feed it fat in order to fuel it? We gotta fuel it fat. So back in the 90s, fat got really bad rep. They took fat out of like all the dairy products, yogurt, cheese, everything was low fat. But what happened is they had to put in chemicals to make it taste good and took all the healthy fats out. And now all of a sudden, we're actually sicker as a country because people aren't getting the fats that they need. If you eat an extremely low-fat diet, you'll probably notice that you have a lot of brain fog, your energy is different, you might be cold because it does have thermogenesis. It keeps you warm, and it actually helps protect your organs as well. So it's really, really important that you have good healthy fats in here, which we're talking about is your nuts, your seeds, your salmon, your avocado, your eggs, amazing healthy fats in there, and then healthy oils. So you just want to be careful in making sure that you're not going over it because it is easy to get to, to go over your fat goal for the day if you're eating these types of fats. Because fats do have about 3 times the amount of calories in 1 gram versus like carbs and protein. So it'd be 9 calories in 1 gram of fat versus 3 calories in 1 gram of carb. So you're going to get to your fat a lot quicker, but that's okay. You just have to balance it and making sure that you're not overdoing it. And then you'll be fine. So those are the macros. I'm going to be diving deeper into the carbs, the fats, and the proteins in another video. So I'll see you guys over there.